Today is August 15th, Tuesday, and you are listening to the Daily AI Show. Welcome, everybody. Sorry, I was getting a notification there right at the top of the show. What's going on, Robert, Beth, Andy, Junmi? We almost got the whole crew here. I know Aaron couldn't make it, and Carl will be joining us for the first time starting tomorrow. And actually, I'll be out. So you guys will get to get Carl all ready for all the amazing stuff we've been doing. He's been out on vacation, but he's ready to come back and join all the fun. First off, I wanted to say thank you to anybody that's listening that helped us get to 150 followers on our LinkedIn page for the Daily AI Show, because that has enabled us now to stream live directly to it. So we're growing. We're getting some good responses from the audience. People are loving the show. So we're going to keep doing this. So today, guys, we're talking all about... Not to mention,
Brian, that we had Rachel Woods posted on her LinkedIn channel that we're the best, what would you say, the funnest new daily AI show?
Best new AI show.
Look, all these caveats, but I feel like I'm a celebrity now when Rachel Woods posts about you. You made it to the show.
True.
Yeah. Rachel is definitely the person that we sort of I will say sort of look up to as far as putting out the content. Rachel Woods is the one, along with her sister, who started the AI Exchange. And Rachel has an amazing story, and we'll certainly get her on here at some time to tell it. But she just decided to start posting on TikTok because she was interested about AI and the the incoming revolution. And within days or a week or whatever, like ChatGPT drops, Dolly drops, like it just takes off. And she had just started her thing, so it couldn't have been better timing. And so she's been posting amazing content, obviously on TikTok for the last several months now. I think I probably clued in around January, and I was like, oh, I just want to read and anything she's saying, I want to absorb, and then more of it. Then she created a Slack community as well as a website that you could join, and that's where we all met each other. So we are basically born out of that.
And newsletter, yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, and the newsletters. Yeah, I forgot about that. Thank you. Yeah, I kind of forgot about it. That was before the Slack, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was the newsletter first. Then she talked about the Slack community, and now we're over 1,000 people in there. And growing rapidly. In fact, I'll tell you this, guys, we just kicked off like what we would call the second cohort of the boot camp. And I'm in there saying, because I'm the leader for that particular course. So I'm in saying, welcome to everybody. And I got to tell you, it is super cool because like the majority of the people that I'm saying welcome to, Munich, Brussels, Paris, Germany. I mean, just international, and then of course across the states as well. But it's really, really cool to see people be like, this is what I'm building in Brussels. It's like, what? And they're like, this is what I'm doing in Munich right now. So it's super cool that we see that it's not only a really great AI community that we all know and love, but it's international, which I think is going to be super beneficial.
On TikTok, Rachel has 158,000 followers.
She's the real deal.
That's big. That's big.
Yeah. She's the real deal. Her content is amazing, and her giving us a shout out yesterday, I know, lifted all of us just a little bit more as we're getting started on this journey. So I guess we should get to, it's 4 minutes in, right? We should get into what we're actually here to talk about today, which is about basically AI in emails, and what does that mean? How are people using it? I think this is one of those use cases that a lot of people just assume, and they're like, oh yeah, maybe I'm dabbling in it. But I do think probably most people don't realize how impactful it can be with helping with emails and stuff. So love to just open it up to you guys. How are you using it? How are you using it currently? Tips and tricks. Let's just dive in.
Who's diving?
I'm going to jump in to say this. So I have a lot of experience with automated email marketing campaigns for e-commerce, and they're really proficient, those systems. And I struggle to understand, apart from what you could do to create a compelling little snippet of content and a title on the email, how AI might improve either the targeting or the efficacy of those messages that are being spit out through these campaigns conditionally based on what user responses and or actions have been on your website, etc. So I'm going to take the role of the skeptic here. I don't see AI dramatically improving automated email marketing at this point, but prove me wrong here.
Well, so I will definitely agree with you, Andy, that the prior optimizations, workflow automations have been around for a while, and the word AI was never brought up. Like HubSpot has a whole workflow automation that you can do, and it's brilliant. This triggers that, and this triggers that. It's really useful for all of this lead gen and follow up and drip campaigns and all that kind of stuff. Where AI comes into it is, I guess, what the purpose of today's talk is the personal piece, and it does take somebody who's a little bit more versed at Zapier and make.com and others to get some integrations in there. So if you're savvy enough to take a person, a candidate, a prospect, however you want to say it, and instead of just doing the template email that you send to everybody, you can load that in with some content based on that person's profile. So you could go out to LinkedIn, scout, you could do some Zapier crawls to get information personally on them before sending them an automated email, right? So you can load the data from other APIs, is what I'm trying to say. That's where it can get a little bit personal. But in of course, then you risk that something goes read wrong or something. But I haven't played around with it enough to be completely against your opinion, but I feel like those who are savvy enough have the ability to personalize the emails with those extra tools. What would you think?
I'll push back against that. You don't actually need the extra tools. I built out a use case that I think, Beth, you've seen, where I built it completely in the AI, OpenAI playground, but you don't even need to do it there. In this particular use case, it was actually Rachel Woods, and I crafted a personalized email to her as an example. And all I did was pull in the information directly from her LinkedIn page. So in this particular example, we're talking about, hey, I'd like to get time with Rachel, right? I'd like to meet up with her because I want her to be my mentor or whatever. And so essentially what we do is we pull in the stuff that's personalized about Rachel, what she's built in the past, where she's maybe studied, these kind of things. And it's literally just drag and copy. And then you feed that into like a ChatGPT prompt. And then you're getting a more personalized email. And so that email is coming back and saying things like, I really love what you did when you built at this particular company. And I would love to learn more about this, or whatever the case is. Now, that's not necessarily sales. That's an outreach for like mentorship or whatever. But what you can do, and what I've taught, so just quick background, I work for a sales consulting company called Scaled. And so that's all we do. We do fractional leadership, and we step in a lot of the cases, but we also build out massive automation sequences. We get into outreach. We do Salesforce, probably, I don't know at Beth's level, but we do Salesforce, and we do trainings there, as well as things in different products like HubSpot and other ones. And what I've been training people to do, my SDRs and AEs that are my clients,
SDR
is going in. Say again.
SDR.
Sales development representative and account executive. So your SDRs are the people who are essentially going to be your cold callers. That's not always the case, because depending if it's a small sales company, they may have to run through the entire sales life cycle. But you basically have lead gen. Then you have like nurturing the deal, right? You got somebody that's going from a cold to a warm lead. And so you have to get them all the way through the sales process. Actually, a product that we're building right now, or whatever, is a series of workshops that answers this particular question. But specifically to the emails, what we're talking about today is learning how to make it be more personalized. And it doesn't necessarily need to. You can get personalized. Like if I want to write to the CEO of ThoughtSpot, I absolutely can do that. You would have to probably use, unless it's going back before 2021, I might want to go in and use a Bing chat. Rachel mentioned perplexity.ai, which she's been saying she's had a lot of success with as far as like web enabled, but you could also use plugins like WebPilot that are on the paid side of ChatGPT, just to be clear. But basically what I can do is I can go in and say, hey, Sadish Nair, who is the current CEO of ThoughtSpot, which is a BI analytics company, right? I've talked about them before. I want to write a cold email outreach to Sadiq. Well, I can use ChatGPT to go do that research and pull in past experiences that I want to craft into the email. But something even simpler, if you have access, if you are using a plugin or a Perplexity or whatever, you can actually capitalize on tools like Lavender. Lavender is a tool that a lot of people are using right now for best practices for emails, talking about not being too long, being optimized for mobile.
Right.
And I can actually go in.
Pause you for a second, Brian. So I feel like we went two different directions. So we started off with big scale automating emails. Now we're looking at one shot crafted emails. So I feel like we need to differentiate between where you were just going. So sorry to interrupt you, but it feels like that is a use case that requires a different conversation, because then that's going to be something that Google is 100% already going to be doing. Like if you're in a Google Gmail account and you're writing emails, they're going to be able to be like, would you like me to finish this email for you based on the four conversations individual, right? Then there's the automation, which is you have to be able to be generic enough by scouring thousands of people. If you're saying 1,000 emails or 100 emails, be able to automate the process of scouring their LinkedIn profile. So there's, I can see potentially benefits.
I just want to pop in. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
One thing, sorry. But my pushback to either one of those cases is, I know, I say since January, my email box has been fluttered with all these personalized emails. I'm like, I can see right through it, and it's annoying. So Jimmy.
So I just wanted to comment on the one shot versus massive scale. I think what you're talking about with the one shot is implementing those AI tools that can then be automated and brought out to scale, or there's or the offerings there are that does the same thing. I think the big value here is in personalization. It's the deep personalization. It's the predictive behaviors, the dynamic segmentation, and things like that. That your either your big scale or your one-offs solutions can do for you. So I think right now AI is at the point, or where its trajectory is to just improve upon what there is, right? Like we've all seen the personalized automated emails that say, dear, insert name here, insert content piece here, and then they have 5 or 6 different templates, right? So what we're looking at now for the AI part of this, how it applies, is now it's scouring their LinkedIn, scouring their web presence, taking all of those elements and building a specific email for that person at scale. And then because of their behavior, what they click on, what they go to, what we're seeing from what their buying behavior is and all of that, that then informs what funnel they need to go to, or which company is going to send them their next email. Now, is it there right now? I'm not sure. I don't have enough hands-on experience to say that, but I think that's what the end goal is to be able to just make a fully personalized experience for each individual customer.
And I think
so I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to jump in here and say a couple things about Salesforce. Salesforce has had the news about your your prospect or your account. Like you can, that's within Salesforce. You can set that up so that it's pulling news and that kind of stuff. The other piece, though, that needs to be said in this is personalization. You've alluded to it. Personalization is only as good as the data that you have, right? Exactly. And the strongest piece of that is being able to track that, right? And so Salesforce does that, HubSpot does that. But the conversations that are happening now in Salesforce, because Salesforce Sales GPT is available, which is their Sales Cloud GPT add-on. It's available to the higher end user accounts right now. But the conversations that are happening in the Salesforce tech world is, let's talk about data. Let's talk about the metadata that you've been collecting in your organization and ways in which you can bring that up to par to what you're going to really need, because that's what all of these personalizations rely on.
I think, though, here's the thing, and I want to push back a little bit here, because we're talking about large scale deployments, and Jimmy, you kind of brought this up, and yes, I know the information is in Salesforce, but I guess maybe here's my take on it, just because of what I've been involved with ground level. You have to learn how to do this with human feedback loops built into it if you want to scale anything up. So if I was going to give somebody an action item on this, if there is a sales professional out there right now who is like, how do I do this? I'd be like, go in the ChatGPT, ask it to help you write a persona using Lavender best practices for this persona in this industry, in this region. So I want to know the persona is a senior VP of sales in fintech in the Boston region that works in perhaps this type of industry. I may even give it a couple of examples of competitors. And then I'm going to say, help me write a 4-part email sequence based on this persona. That you can do without ever automating, go anything else.
Right.
Then I'm going to look and I'm going to start doing like revisions on that and try to get that down to a really good 4 or 5-part email sequence that I can put into Outreach that I feel like really tailors it. If you get good at that, which isn't very hard, and you can build prompts that have variables in them in order to use that, 30 times a day if you wanted to. You could just keep copying and repasting it right back into a new feed in ChatGPT, and you would get new answers out of it. If you can get to that point and you feel confident, then I'm like, yeah, absolutely. What you guys are saying, start working on what this looks like at scale, bringing in the tools like Salesforce, bringing in the metadata, bringing in all this other stuff. But I caution people to say this will not work if you try to eliminate the human as a feedback part of the system. And I know we all believe that, so I'm not saying anything to you guys that you don't agree with, but I do caution, because to your point, Andy, or Robert, you're going to get these really not so personalized, but attempted personalized emails that miss the mark. And so I think it starts at the bottom. You get those skills, you build those skills, and it builds up from there, because then you can scale, then you can automate, then you can go, like to your point, Jimmy, probably create some APIs that get that, mass. So anyway, I'll stop there, but that's just sort of where
I've done some cold emails, and I've done some, because I've been in sales most 22 years and 25 years. So I've done cold outreach. I've also done inbound, like people inquired and I would, respond. Those are much easier, right? You can do a lot with that, because they're going to read it with a lot less. Like if you miss mark on 5 things, you're still going to read it and still going to engage, because they were the initial inquiry, right? This inbound. But the cold email, I use LinkedIn to do some, because you can set the profile, the region, then you can do a messaging campaign, and so to your point, it's really interesting that you have to know that your persona that you're targeting is generic enough or broad enough that multiple people will be able to fit within that box.
Sure, for that outreach sequence, sure.
Yeah. For that outreach sequence. So where I'm really finding it challenging is I want to go at scale, and I think it goes back to data. If you have lots of larger companies have more data, and they have better ways of housing it, better ways of accessing it. So I think it's only going to get easier and easier to imitate a human. And so that if I'm doing a cold email, I'll send it to 5 people, all 5 people on this call, and each one of us will get a different email, and it'll be better catered to our backgrounds, our personalities, our personas. Like you said, that I think is coming, but I wish it was here now. That personal touch that we mentioned, in that I don't think it's there now, because people are trying and it's like failing miserably, because every email I see, like a couple of them come through like, oh, I looked at your profile, you make a great, obviously they're recruiters, most of them are recruiters, but they still miss it. They still just like, no, you're just reading my LinkedIn profile. And I know you could put a few things in the profile to mess them up, like change your title or change the letter of your title. Go ahead, Andy.
You're on mute, Andy.
I've been the recipient of perfunctory, personalized, outreaches in various messaging platforms now. So anytime we talk about email, you have to also add to it, okay, there's messaging within LinkedIn that's being used in a similar way.
Sure,
and then
email.
also let's also talk about texting, which is lumped together along with email in the TCPA, Telephone Consumer Privacy Act, I believe, and GDPR rules around privacy. And so you have to be very sensitive to the idea of automation running afoul of the restrictions that are imposed on you in cold outreach, especially like in the context of e-commerce. We can send emails for 18 months to anyone who's actually done a transaction on our website. But we can't just buy an email list and start sending that out. That's prohibited.
Sure.
So I'm just a little nervous that too many people will find the tools too easy to use, and they're going to be operating at a small enough scale that the regulatory authorities are not going to address the growing volume of these personalized emails that are outreaches for sales or connection. And they're under the radar in effect because they're not operating at huge scale, and they're not a great target for the lawyers who are chasing the people who are violating those things. So anyway, it's a complex play.
Or it's blacklist. You don't want your domain blacklisted so that you're doing all this lovely crafted AI persona, and then you end up getting your domain blasted for spamming people in essence. So yeah.
Well, and we're in the attention economy. I mean, we're talking about personalized emails and that kind of stuff, but you can also use AI to give ideas, like create this multi-prong attention kind of drip campaign. That's another way that AI can help with create personalization experiences rather than going out and trying to find but somebody's personalized experience with somebody else, right? Or LinkedIn or like broad public. If you start creating things that are intriguing, that are enticing, that are valuable for people. And if you don't like to write, AI can write for you. If you don't like to do graphic design, AI can do graphic design for you, right? Like you can supplement the places where you would be using someone else, or it's just not worth your time to try to put all of that together. AI can do that for you. And then your personalized emails are really personal.
Or personalized video. I mean, you can have ChatGPT take you all the way to the point of explaining exactly what should be in a personalized video. Damn near give you a script and a transcript you could read off of a teleprompter, and then you could do a quick 30-second intro video, which I tell my clients to do all the time. Video is highly underutilized when it comes to outreach and stuff. But there's ways to do it, and have ChatGPT definitely help you get there faster, because nothing's worse than a cold blank email, a Word document with a blinking cursor on it. That's scary as hell. So getting people to go from something blank to something that's somewhat templated, and to your point, Beth, like where you then inject the human element, like, yeah, I agree with all you guys. If you're just going to blindly do it, you're no better than all the spam things that are out there. The only thing we're saying is now there's better, faster AI ways to perhaps make it, and it's still going to fail. It's still going to fail, especially when we talk about, cold outreach. It's still going to suck. We know that. So yeah, I just think you have to bring the human into it. It's not going to replace you. You're not going to be able to send effectively or efficiently 1,000, highly personalized, well-tailored emails that Andy is going to open, or I might open, because that's really, really hard to scale at this point.
Brian, you were breaking up a little bit. It was just me. Yeah. I do want to give a hot take quick, if the internet's still working for everybody.
Yours,
my hot take is
on mine a little bit, but it might be my side.
Nope.
Yeah.
Robert's.
So am I still talking? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I have a hot take. My hot take is this. I don't think emails are even remotely the right pathway for anything. I give you a list of 20 people I know that have more than 1,000 emails that unopened in their email box. So it's the wrong pathway. Right? It's not too much. So I'm thinking it needs to be more text messaging AI, but that's a whole other thing. My hot take is emails are dead anyway. Go ahead. Sorry.
Agreed. And
I disagree.
he broke up a little bit.
Wholeheartedly disagree with that, but go ahead, Beth. Emails are not dead. Crap emails are dead. Emails are not dead.
No,
not in the long shot.
So So I barely read the emails from my own team because they have so many emails. Like it's like, and so you're trying to pitch me an email. I'm not even gonna read it. I can tell the first sentence that I didn't ask for your email, so you're dead. So I think LinkedIn email is a little bit more because the audience is a little bit more likely to read the email. But I have 6 different email accounts that I have to go each every day 1,000 emails. So I mean, if they're trying to target me, they're wasting their bandwidth.
So
I would like
emails
to
are
see
dead
the
for
stats
Robert.
for
Don't
2023
email.
when it comes out.
What was
Sorry,
that, Jimmy?
I was just
Sorry,
gonna.
Jimmy.
I want to see the stats for 2023 because in the end of 2022, what I've seen is like the best, the best email opens is at 34%. Is that a lot? Is that a high percentage? Is 34%?
Yes, it is.
So with 2023 being the rise of AI, I want to see what that percentage is. If it ticks up significantly, I think we've still got that path. If it stays the same or is even lower, then Robert might be right.
So
Email,
I
guys.
think it's interesting. I think the video idea is interesting, Brian.
Yeah, I like that.
And I'm less likely to open and like a message from someone I don't know that says, "Hey, Beth, I found you on LinkedIn. I have a personal video message for you," right? Like I'm more likely to open your email than that.
Yeah, that's
This is getting into sales techniques, and I'll pause on that because I can go down a rabbit hole. What I will say is this, and by the way, of course we're at time. What I'll say is though, we've been talking a lot about emails because I think it's the natural order to think about it in terms of prospecting, cold, even lukewarm or whatever. Let's not forget though, I can take any 1 hour transcript from any discovery call. I can put it into Claude. I can immediately get the top points. Not only can I get the top points for the person that was on that discovery call, I can figure out what questions I missed that they raised that I was too busy going down this track and I missed. I can bring up all of those use cases. I can get it to write me an email that highlights the call, talks about what the next action steps are, talks about the problems that I missed along the way, and sends out an amazing summary email back to that client. And I can do it in about 5 minutes.
Yeah,
tell me where else we can do that.
That's not prospecting, though. That's not cold emails.
I didn't say it was. I didn't say it was.
Yeah,
that's email. That's using AI for personalized email.
Yeah, that use of a the whole call today has been mostly outbound cold and prospecting. So that's where I'm.
Yeah, no, a different use case.
That use case, I would agree, is very helpful, especially when not sure how to follow up with that call you just had. It's great to do that quick summary, bullet points. Yeah, it's brilliant. And even create a script, like you said, for a Loom video that you would send them and say, "Hey, great talking to you." I'd love that. You're right. I 100% agree. It is underrated and used. So,
yeah.
Listen, emails are like cockroaches. They're going to survive the next nuclear blast. In my mind, people have been predicting the death of email for 20 years or more, and yet we still get them. We still read newsletters. Yep, Robert, my wife is like you. She's got 1,000 unread emails and so on and so forth in 6 different accounts, and it drives me nuts because I don't like seeing the little numbers in there. Like, clean that stuff out. But the reality is we still, in the modern business world, we still use email predominantly to deal with, maybe not always it'll be future cold, but I still is the predominant method for me to interact with my clients on a day-to-day basis. I mean, every single day, all day long in my job, that's what I have to do. And yes, Slacks and things like that and text, which I hate. I try to not give anybody my phone because I don't want them to Slack or text me. But yeah, I just think this is like, look, there's so many ways right now that AI can absolutely help the modern sales professional, but just in general, people get better at writing more concise, more succinct, more action-oriented emails that people actually do want to read. And maybe that's where the problem is, right?
Yeah. Final point
I
think for both of you is you both exemplify what you were saying in previous episodes. Whatever it is, whatever field it is, AI is just going to make you better at your job.
And if you're bad at your job, it doesn't. Right?
Exactly.
If you give AI that,
you're bad at your job. Well, if you're back, I probably not going to use it anyway. I will say that it's just so many variables here. So, you know, the audience of who's receiving the email, from a grandma to a 2-year-old, a whole different, you know, thought experiment we can do about on the recipient, being the different generational differences between what mediums they're using and what they respond to. And so that's a whole other argument, because, you know, I've been in sales for a while. The changing technologies over 25 years and seeing how things had to adapt, you know. It's interesting to use for cockroach, because it is. I hate cockroaches so bad. So it's funny.
Yeah.
It's a cockroach.
All right, guys.
My takeaway is
go ahead, Beth. Go ahead.
go back and listen to what Brian said about ways to use it like 3 minutes ago. Go back and listen to that again.
Listen, I do this, so it's like it's always top of mind for me. But I think, as always, this has been a good conversation. And look, this is what I love about this roundtable, right? We don't all agree with the best ways to do this. It's more about how we perceive AI making, you know, improvements in life. And honestly, and a lot of times we talk about how AI is probably going to make it worse first, and then it's going to make it better later. Because for every new intervention, somebody's going to abuse the hell out of it. So, all right, here we go.
Thanks, everybody. Join us tomorrow.
All right, guys, we're out. So.